Loud and cloud? Loud and clear.
That's
Cloud
good.
in here.
Loud and cloud.
Loud and queer.
Loud and proud. There we go. They can hear me loud and proud.
Loud and proud.
Did anyone
and
answer
cloud.
how PG is this question?
I'm sorry,
No,
Pete.
no one's
you
answered that one
heard,
yet.
okay.
So how PG is this interview?
PG-13.
Okay.
We can go adult situations, but like we'll keep the pants on.
Right. But we can say one
I'll
F word.
try
then.
to keep the pants on.
Don't
it.
drop the F bomb. No.
Hey, PG-13, one F-bomb.
Yeah.
No, let's not.
You have the one F bomb.
I'm not going to. I know how to keep
good.
PG-13.
We got a limit of like 3 bitches. I'll take one, but I think there's like 2 left.
Johnny would be the third one.
Son of a... There.
Oh, wait. Sorry. Question? I'm kidding.
Are we live, like on
I think we just-
broadcasting, live streaming?
I don't know what we're doing yet. For the longest time, we just like tried to sneak it in on you. Like we just start talking and we don't tell the bands. And then we started doing it. But honestly, I don't know at this point.
Yeah.
Usually if you're on me, if you're like, are we on now? Are we on now? The reason I stopped doing it is because like I was doing it. I was like, Pika, are we going? Pika, are we going? Pika, are we going? And I
there
just
yet?
look like an idiot, you know?
I have to
like,
pee. Are we there yet?
Yeah.
It's like I just stumbled onto the set here, you know? But anywho,
Anyway,
it sounds like Pika's saying that we're going.
Where we go?
where are you going?
So,
This is live.
System Showcase is a go with the Outlaw Saints.
No, Outlaw Saint.
The Outlaw Saint?
No, Outlaw Saint.
Outlaw Saint.
Yep.
That's the...
There's only one saint.
There's only one saint.
Which one is it?
And no the,
I
right?
would still try to
Switches
decide.
off
It
all the
depends on
time.
day of the week.
Right.
He's
There's
Johnny Outlaw.
Traded
so
off a little bit.
How many of you guys are moles then? One's a saint. Is one a mole trying to
Yeah.
take down the band from the inside?
He left.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not in the band
You
anymore.
voted him off the show.
I think he voted
So
himself
He
off.
voted himself off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When this show ends, we'll
No
hand you
longer
guys some
on the
cards and we'll vote one of you guys out of the band and we'll see if it's the saint or the mole.
Oh, not again.
All right. What do you want from me? All right. Well,
There you go.
Perfect.
so I'd love to hear each and every one of your stories because you're all important members of society, even though you're known as numbers now because we have tape on our cords now. So number 4.
Yes.
What was your life like and what led you to the Outlaw Saint? And are you the saint?
It depends on the day of the week. Now, I mean, my name is Christian Center, so
It's number 4 now.
Yeah.
but right. So no, I'm not the saint for sure. But what led me to Outlaw Saint was these guys were looking for a bass player, and I just answered an ad on Facebook. And before that, I was doing some cover band stuff that was kind of floundering, and I was looking to do something different. I used to play bass back in the day, and I was playing more 6-string at that point. But yeah. So
Talk
did
to me
you get
about Facebook ads because how many of them have you like answered for a bass player in your life and how have those gone? Is it like a
Well, this was
Craigslist
the
type of
first
Wild
one for
West
me.
or like?
This was the first time for me as far as personally
One
responding.
and
to
only.
it. I did reach out to some other people with a cover band and got some responses from that. But
These guys were pretty sticky for you.
well,
He had all the
guess
right moves.
what's that?
Yeah.
He had all the right moves.
Yeah. So no, I just came in and they gave me like 4 songs to learn, and I just kind of winged it, and rest is history, I guess.
Did you guys know he winged it?
Yeah, I thought you learned them.
Well, I did, but I'm saying I mean, I only had a few days to learn the song, so.
And what was
notes.
really interesting was one of the songs we gave him was we didn't even give him the bass. And it was just like we were going like, this is going to be your audition. This is going to be come up with a bass part for this song to make it kind of
Yeah.
sexy, type thing. And he comes in, and the song became One Sexy Ginger.
I like it. You're like, I can do sexy.
Oh yeah.
I'm winging
mean,
it, but
bass is kinda
I've done sexy before.
depending
It's,
how you
it's
play
the
it.
hair.
We knew that right away.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, the lack of the hair doesn't hurt me at all
locks,
either.
yeah.
Like,
If you see a bass player with hair, is that a red flag?
Kyle just stepped right in though. He just knocked it out. He did. The song that Tank is talking about, he just laid down a bass line that was all him. It was beautiful,
Yeah.
and it really moved the song along. And then even we threw this technical, chromatic piece at him that was a prior Outlaw Saints song on a prior release, and we're re-recording it, and he's just stepping up to the plate and hitting home runs. So
yeah, appreciate
Yeah.
that. So,
Love it.
yeah, it's good, but it was fun. It was kind of a challenge for me just to. I hadn't played bass regularly in a long time, so just to kind of dive into it again, do something different, and the idea of doing originals and stuff was always super appealing to me. So, yeah, I mean, it was good. It was a good thing.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, Tank. What's your number? Because you're not Tank anymore.
Yeah, apparently it's number 7.
Number
No,
7.
Number 5.
You're
I'm
number five. So
Don't get
You
yourself
wish you
crossed
were
with
7.
we got the leader, number 5 here, right? Right, guys?
We wish you were a 7.
No, yeah, anyways, I'm not going to go there. I'm not even, yeah, anyway, so
Are you the
what about me?
saint?
So,
Are you the saint?
I am probably I'm closest to the saint anyone's ever going to get in this band.
Well, that's why you had to throw in Outlaw, because you really aren't.
Well, it's just like we had so many problems with people saying Outlaw Saints. So it's just like, he says, well, I want my last name to be Outlaw, Johnny Outlaw. And I'm going like, okay, then I'm going to be Tank Ain't No Saint Davidson.
There's more to it than that, but yeah, okay, we'll go with that.
Is there an Outlaw Saints out there as plural, or you just
So
got like
there's-
as a whole hate
I think
the
there's a
plurality
band
of it?
called Outlaw Saints somewhere in the south.
South
Okay, yeah,
Carolina,
no,
or like
F
they're
them.
kind of
South
a
Carolina.
southern
Yeah, they
rock.
suck.
You guys are
Right.
not
They're
that.
really bad.
Right.
No.
South Carolina, they were a cover band. They were defunct. And the reason I found out about it was we were doing a show in St. Cloud for the Keller Bar. And the promoter of it went out and said, Outlaw Saints. All right. And then I clicked on it, and that's where I found out about it. So it's just like I had them change it, get rid of the S. And ever since then, yeah, I've been a little anal about it, but it's just like I'm trying to get people to know we're Outlaw Saint.
It's good.
As in there's no such thing as the Led Zeppelins.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as
Not anymore.
Exactly. But it's just like, people know them as Led Zeppelin, not the Led Zeppelins.
Puddin' Fairies.
Yeah.
Not the Puddin' Fairies, just Puddin' Fairies.
I think that's a hard thing, though, is coming up with a band name. There's hardly anything out there that hasn't been taken.
Yeah.
You know?
And even still, you get into like search engine marketing where you'd go to Google and type in Outlaw Saint, or my cover band Generation Rock. I keep coming up with a song with Scott Weiland, I think, that is called Generation Rock. I
Yeah,
mean, it's just
exactly. It's just like you
Like,
can't
but
win.
you're trying to get yourself out there.
Yeah.
What was the origin of Outlaw Saint? Was it originally Outlaw Saints, and then you're like, no, squash it? Or
No, okay. So what
or
had
have you been
happened was
fighting
is that about 10 years ago, originally we went by Motivator.
Motivate. Okay.
Motivator. And this was back with the original lineup, almost 11 years ago. And what had happened was is that they weren't too happy with the name, and the guitar player at the
Was
time.
it too motivating?
No, really not.
Yeah.
I wasn't motivated with the names.
Well, it turns out there's a local blues band.
Half the
I
band
don't
had
remember the guy's
narcolepsy.
name, but it's called so and so and the Motivators, type thing. So,
Motivator sounds better, if you ask me, I think.
Yeah, well, I went through
It's like
it. Went through it a couple
regulators,
times. Went through it a couple times, and just like back then, when does all this happen? This was back when you had to pay for your texts. You're only given so many texts a month. And I was for T-Mobile, and I just started my cycle. So it's just like, all of a sudden I'm just like, I'm looking at, of all things, a DVD for Crisis on Two Earths, DC. One of these older DVDs. And these two words were together. It was Outcast Status. So I text all 5 guys, and I'm going like, hey, Outcast Status, how does that sound? And everyone comes back, answers back, hey, yeah, it sounds pretty good, blah, blah. And I'm going like, then I think about it, and I send another text, and I'm going like, no, and how about the outlaw status, blah, blah, blah. So, we kept doing this, and finally, I couldn't decide, and I'm texting all 5, all the 4 of the members, and finally I'm going, Outlaw Saint! And everyone's going like, yeah, that's so cool. Moral of the story, within that one day, I used up almost all my quota of texts.
An expensive band name.
They just said yes to everything.
To that point, it had to be Outlaw Saint, regardless of
I'm
the
on
They
name.
just
chat.
really hated motivators. There's like
They
anything
did.
else.
They did. I liked it, but Outlaw Saint, the way that I saw it, worked a heck of a lot better. Just for the main fact that me, rock and roll's always been about the good and the bad.
It sounds like this was a long time ago.
Yeah, this was 10 years ago that we changed it. It was actually 10 years ago as of this last January.
And how's the evolution of the band gone since? Are these all who's the second oldest member here?
Johnny.
Yeah, I guess I would be, yeah.
Yep. We've been through more lineup changes than Guns N' Roses, but not quite as many as LA Guns. For any of your rockheads out there, I don't know if anyone can guess
That was
one.
like in the evolution of the Johnny Outlaw, and I said,
yeah.
Tank, let's give everybody a name so that if someone moves on, they actually got to just fill, Christian Sinner's spot, or Aaron Fire's spot, or Purgatory Bob's spot. Let's give everybody a name. And
So as the second oldest member, when did you join in?
I joined in 2016.
2016.
Yeah, I think you had an ad on Craigslist, maybe.
Yeah, most
and it
definitely.
just said, Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith inspired original band. I'm like, huh, I like those bands.
Yeah.
I think I can play that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think, so Tank swears, maybe he's right, actually. Sometimes I'm sitting in front of my closet and I'm thinking about what I'm going to wear, and then I think about this. But the first time I went out to
You
see
should think longer.
Outlaw Saint was at Club Underground.
Club Underground, yep.
And Tank swears I showed up in khaki pants and something like that.
Swag.
But I answered the ad and we corresponded back and forth a little bit. And he said, "Come out and see the band at the Club Underground." So I went out and saw the band, and then we started. We just
That was your
connected
first
for some
date?
reason. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Sparks.
So.
Yep.
And I had a bunch of riffs. It was, I've never been in an original band before this. So
Okay.
I had a bunch of riffs that just been having dust on them at home. So
Gotcha.
to just have a format where I can just introduce some riffs to other people and have it grow wings and
Yeah.
become structured and be a song. It's pretty.
Yeah, take me to the lead up before joining this as your first original band. Were you playing cover bands or just doing jams, or
It's
what
always
was your musical
covers, pretty
background?
much. I actually so I went. I don't know how we can go far back, but we won't go to make it a short
way
story.
back.
But my mom bought me my first guitar at Christmas, 1984. I got a Van Halen album and a guitar underneath the
Bought
Christmas
it at the
tree.
5 and dime.
Yeah, I played it until my fingers bled.
Oh,
I think it was the
yeah.
summer of '69, wasn't
Or
it?
84.
This is going to be a why I didn't buy a Harley type story.
But yeah, no, I did a lot of cover bands, tried to get a lot of things off the ground, and then I took a long break for a while and didn't play music for a long time.
Gotcha.
And then I started my own small business, and I appreciate you having us here at Prince Music Company, because that's important, to showcase not us but this business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I appreciate what that was about, and so I was coming off. I had 30 students. I went to music tech back in 1993, so I wanted to put that to use, and I had students. I was giving lessons, and I thought, well, let's try this.
I love that. Was that all guitar? Or did you expand
All
into other ones
guitar.
too?
I
All
did guitar, bass. I'm a guitar player.
Gotcha.
I teach people how to play bass from a guitar player perspective.
Of course.
But yeah, that's it. That's how I started with them. So I was in Outlaw Saints for about a year, and I quit to focus on a cover band project that I was with, and man, you just roped me right back in.
I roped you right back in. It's just like the last lineup that we had dissipated, and it was just like this one guitar player that we were bringing into the band. He's going like, hey dude, I'm gonna do something with you, blah blah blah. So we're looking around, and I had not talked to this guy. I had not seen
Been a
you
while.
since 2016.
It had been a while, yeah.
Since he had left.
How long of a hiatus
no,
are we
he
talking here?
came
2
out
3
to see
years?
my show a few times. at
Oh
Generation
yeah,
Rock.
okay, yeah. So
he's always a big supporter.
This was last year.
Yeah.
This was last
Okay.
year that I'm going like, I'm gonna shoot go over there, see what's going on. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
Well, it started with you had a CD. You had mentioned to me about an anniversary of the song "Push Comes to Shove"
Yep.
or something along those lines, and you asked me if I wanted a digital copy or a CD copy.
Yep.
And I said, I want a CD. I don't even have a CD player anymore, but I just wanted the CD. So you had come over and dropped off the
Yep.
CD at my house, and then 8
Yep.
hours later we were still talking.
Yeah, we literally were there for like 7 hours, and I realized, man, I forgot just how much I enjoy hanging out with you. And it's just like, at the time we were going to search for a bass player and a drummer first, and then look for the guitar player later. But I just looked at Johnny. I'm going like, would you ever reconsider rejoining Outlaw Saint? And, it's
Yeah.
just-
And in the beginning, it was like COVID was everywhere. No one knew what was happening. Everybody was at home. Everybody was scared to death. It was very early on.
Yep.
And I was like, no one's playing anywhere. No one's doing any live music. So how about we just try to do a recording project where we're all like file share? And that was the original idea. And then it just blossomed into
Yep. And then
Harrison, and
the other
we
guitar
found this
player.
guy.
he ended up moving out to Wisconsin. So it was just me and Johnny. And then we had an interesting drummer. Segue.
Man, that's a better love story than Twilight, I tell you what.
Oh, yeah, much.
So we had this old
I
drummer.
think one of them is the Saint. I haven't heard from you two yet.
So we had an old drummer that was interested, wanted to rejoin the band, but it was just like he didn't seem like he was too interested. We was waiting weeks, blah, blah, blah. And then also that's when Bob comes into the picture. And what was interesting at the time was it's like we had just agreed with the other guy to bring him back on when Bob first contacted me, right? So it's just like, I'm going to do it. I'm so sorry, we just got someone in, and Bob's going, keep my email. If something comes up, let me know.
He actually threatened him. He was like, "You know who I am, first off."
I mean, he literally did enough time to go into one of my older interviews to find out my original stage name from 20 years ago.
Which was?
Gunner Tank Matrix.
Gunner Tank Matrix?
Yes. So it's just like,
We don't have that kind of time.
So one thing leads to another. It's just like at first we had this other guitar player. Things didn't seem to be working out. So I said, "Hey Bob, how would you like to start an Outlaw Saints tribute band?" Yeah. Just like the other bass player wasn't going to be available until fall. And I had a few other guitar players on the line at the time, and I'm going like, okay, we'll do Outlaw Saints stuff, for the summer to keep the name going. And then, one thing leads to another. The other drummer didn't work, and the rest of the is history.
And that brings you into the equation, huh?
Maybe.
Maybe? Depends on who's asking.
Depends on who's asking.
Are you the Saint?
I doubt it.
Doubt it.
I'm sure there's a test or a quiz, and I would fail miserably.
All right. What circumstances led you to falling into these guys, into these star-crossed lovers?
Well, I was busking on the corner.
There's an Outlaw Saints song called "Star-Crossed Lovers."
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
there is.
Not those guys.
Bob,
Those guys
Yeah,
suck.
no, please, no.
No, Tank kind of summed it up. I was kind of like Johnny. I was looking, things kind of fell apart, so to speak, in early 2020. And bands I was in decided they weren't going to be bands or for other reasons. So I was trying to figure out how to start another band, cover band. So I was doing the cover band thing. And then I was like, well, let me take this from a different angle. I wonder if there's any bands out there looking for people. So I went into that Wild West.
Novel concept.
Yeah, novel concept instead of trying to recreate, That's a pain running a band if you've ever tried. It's a lot of work. And I commend him for that. He works his butt off.
Yeah.
So I went to that Wild West thing called Craigslist. Never done that before.
Definitely Wild
Sarcasm.
West. I haven't tried it, but
Yeah.
it's wild enough just trying to sell instruments on like Facebook Marketplace or anything. And
Oh, yeah.
we're getting a room filled on
That's-
Craigslist.
To
It's
Tank's
Is
point.
this still available?
Yeah, it's still available. Yeah, and that's why I did the research, though. See what I was getting into. But I still joined, and I don't understand. But, so yeah. But I answered I looked at it. I was like it was late February, early March, and I'm like, I found this deep down. So it had been there for a couple of weeks, and I was page in, and see this all original project, and they had actually a special section of the website with a link. Drummer wanted. I'm like, okay, so sounds like they're serious.
of course.
And so I started digging in and listening to the music. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, maybe, and I started listening. And then as I was listening to some of the older tunes, I'm like, okay, you got to like the tunes, because if you don't like I wanted to do originals, but if you don't like the tunes, what's the point?
Of course.
So I was digging in. I was listening to the tunes. I'm like, oh, I could do something fun with, I could put my twist on that. And then I was digging in, and that's when I stumbled on the podcast. I was trying to, what's this Tank guy like? And I stumbled on this old podcast, and I watched it. And it was before Failure.
Yes,
album.
it was
And
just
you'll
before
never get
Failure.
that 30 minutes back.
I will never get that. 30.
30 was an hour. It was almost an hour.
You wish it had only been 30.
I got it back last night, actually.
So Tank, for all your future band members watching this podcast, what do you have to say to them?
Be prepared to work hard. I'm more than willing to work with everyone, for a common thread, but it's just I don't mess around. I try to have fun. I try to do both.
course.
Be the businessman, but still be the hey, let's have fun while we're doing this, type thing. So,
Gotcha.
And the final thing before I reached out to him and then was rejected was I heard the recording. He was talking about Push Comes to Shove, produced by a good friend of his and recorded. And I'm like, it sounded, I'm like, okay, so there's some serious potential here. And so I'm like, okay, I'm in. I'm like, I slept on it overnight. I'm like, just really what I want to do. Yep. Sent the email Sunday morning. He responded almost an hour later. No, we already
Did you already have a guy? What was the?
We already got a guy.
He wanted it. We had just brought him back in. I mean, literally, if he wouldn't have waited that 24 hours, he would have been in the band at that point. I mean, we literally just told
Things
him.
move fast. You probably like had a gig lined up or like things like that.
There's this old saying in Outlaw Saint, even our contingency plans have contingency plans. It's just like literally one problem will come up and I'll have a solution for it in less than an hour. I've done that before, and it's just like yeah, things move really fast.
Of course.
You know, it's like this music's. You know, I've been doing music. You know, music's always been a part of my life. So it's just like this is what I'm gonna be doing for the rest of my life. So it's just like you know, you better believe that if something goes on, I'm gonna make sure we keep rolling ahead.
So if I'm following this straight with the contingencies in place, got a guy. He reached out. We already got a guy. Like a day later, he just didn't show up, and he's back
about
in.
a week later. It was about a week
okay.
later, and we've had issues with this guy before, you know, and it didn't seem like he was changing at all. So I'm going like, dude, let's meet, let's talk. I'm at least willing to hear, you know, what you're doing, you know. And so we met at Nison's, and then a week later. We go back over to his place, and his studios is like blows me away. It's just like wow. And the next
week later, you brought him in.
Yeah, then the week later, I brought Johnny, and I'm going like Johnny. Look, no offense, maybe we can have the other drummer, you know, do like a side project or something like that. You know, I'm still willing to, but I want him in Outlaw Saint. And so I told Johnny came over the third week, and we took 3 of our older songs that he hadn't heard at this point, and we fine-tuned 3 songs in 2 hours. So we were going like, this is it.
Bob's got a fantastic ear on stuff, you know, and sometimes if my first verse is not consistent with the second verse and what I'm doing on guitar,
covering up for you guys.
He hears that stuff. He's like, something's not.
Starts throwing cymbals.
Something's not, you know.
Of course.
So then we just rewind the tape and listen over. Oh man, you're right. Yeah, that's
Sticks.
Saving them over here. Sounds like real saint behavior, if you ask me.
Yeah, no.
My hypocrisy knows no bounds.
There's quite an extensive bar in the studio, so.
Yeah, real extensive.
Well, if you're not the saint, you look like you're the youngest.
Might be.
So that might make it.
Well, what do I
little
look
bit.
like?
Chopped liver. Hey, you asked.
Well, you got the second less gray on your beard.
Yeah.
Takes it.
Getting there. I think maybe a good 10 years on everybody.
Yep, you're about 10 years younger than me.
Solid decade.
Was
So it was a little nerve-wracking coming in right away. Bunch
you-
of geezers, you know, had to
Yeah, a little.
try to move them along.
Was that a little catfish on Craigslist scenario?
Right,
where they were
exactly.
like,
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was
Absolutely.
going into something dangerous, but you know, I showed up. Doing my best.
Bruce Willis was outside.
Showed us his best. He brought in a single.
Well, you describe it best.
Yeah, you describe it. You can describe
Well,
his best.
so we had 2 people come in the night that Aaron came in. The first guy came in, so there go several versions of Push Comes to Shove. But the one that you heard was on the which album release was
Failure.
so Failure, Push Comes to Shove. There's a recording story you talked about a while ago. But basically, the one guy that came in before you learned Push Comes to Shove, note for note, to the T. Right? Chickadees. And so he learned it to the T. Perfect.
But
Get it?
Pika says there's not enough jiggling on this show.
Hold on, there's a mic problem.
I need you jiggling more.
We could share, Johnny.
Sharing the mic.
are we good?
Quite so.
Okay.
Yeah, we need more jiggling. This is the part of the show where we jiggle.
Try unplugging and plugging it in.
Please stand by.
Please hold.
Speaking of
What was
jiggling,
that word
you said-
again? Whoa!
Well, now it's not.
And it's fixed.
Ooh.
Found no reason why it's not working.
This is the most violent episode we've had since Rick tackled me.
You know he's not the same now.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Yeah, don't worry about you. Actually, it looks like you're overcompensating a little bit. Well, I'll take the moment to say this. It's a pleasure having you guys on here. As always, we've been blessed of having this location at the Mall of America, and to turn around and showcase guys like you. The Minnesota scene, getting out there. It's truly a blessing. To have people like you guys in here every week. And showcasing talents in the Midwest. I see Tank at a ton of Rebel Queen shows.
Rebel
things of that
Queen's good,
nature.
man. Yep.
So you guys probably have a good insight, being on the road around the Midwest. Who are some of your favorite, Midwestern-based bands making the rounds?
My favorite one right now is a band called The Rumors out of Iowa. I actually had the pleasure of doing a show with them and Rebel Queens a while back, and it's just like the first time I saw them, they had this one song, and I hadn't heard anything about them prior, and they had this one song, and it was a Wednesday night at the Caboose, and it's just like I was dancing to it. It had a nice groove to it, and when I heard they come back, I was
waiting. Were they kind of rock genre or the more groovy,
rock,
like in terms
but
of
punk, rock, pop punk, almost rock. It's kind of hard to to describe. And so the song was called Get It On. And it was just like, it had a really nice groove to it. And the next time they came down, I wanted to hear this song. And one thing had led to another, and they had to shorten their list. So they had to take that song off the list. But they played this other song. And I'm listening to them, I'm going like, wait a minute, did she just say what I think she just said? So it's just like, so I asked her, it's just like, so they have a song called Put Your Love on My Face.
Okay.
And that's why Tank likes that.
That's why
What does that mean?
it was just the fact that it was a woman singing
that
about
mean,
this
Tank?
song. Yeah. Anyways, and so I asked her, I'm going, did you really say that? She's going like, yeah. She said originally we were going to put your jizz on my face, but we thought that sounded a lot better.
I thought we were PG-13.
That was
See, that's what
PG-13.
music you like.
It was.
So,
You went to that?
We have a youngster here. I mean, come on.
Absolutely.
but yeah, but with Aaron, it's just like when he came in, he literally only had, what was it? Not even a day. Was it a day to? Maybe two to do. So it's just like he was willing to do it. So he came in. So it's just like we were very not lenient. Maybe that's not the right word, but we were going to, we'll give him a break.
Low expectations.
Yeah.
And they still keep it that way, which is
So yeah, so it's just like he comes in with his one guitar, and
He
it
just
wasn't.
killed it. He
He
was
just killed
awesome.
it. And it's just like we're going like, dude, you're in.
See,
And
that's
then
a super melodic element to it. That,
yep. And then 1 week later, he did our first show together with him.
Lead
I love
rhythm?
it.
Hey, just came in with a Strat and just like played all this stuff. I turned my monitor down and cranked him in the mix and smiled during your entire audition. Like I just knew
It wasn't what he
really-
played; it's how he played it.
Yeah, it
Of
just-
course.
Yeah.
All right.
So-
Before we hand out the cards and you vote off one of you guys from the band for being the Saint, or is it the Mole? Regardless, I gotta ask. There's a lot of people watching right now. They see what you're doing. They also want to answer that Craigslist ad, that Facebook ad, get in a band. They're scared to. Hell, maybe some of them haven't even picked up an instrument and played it yet. What has inspired you guys to just do it? Like, just get out there and play? Because it sounds like for some of your stories, just getting in and getting around a group of people, that's how you can stay consistent. Yep. How can you just do it when it comes to music?
It's got to be the love of music.
You gotta love it. You gotta love what you're doing, and don't expect to go sky high really quick. Take one step, or ever. Just take that one step, but do it because you enjoy doing it.
It sounds like all of you have taken hiatuses before as well. Is that correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Unfortunately.
I didn't play for 20 years, and then when I started.
Was there
having
anything that like made the click and I'm like, I'm gonna get on Facebook? Or?
No. I mean, to be honest with you, so I played like in high school and junior high and all that stuff, and I sold all my gear to go to school and stuff. And I said, that's it. I don't know why. I just decided I was done. And once I got married and had kids, I started having dreams about playing guitar again and doing stuff.
yeah?
And I think it was because my kids were getting interested in music. And something spurred me on. And one day, on the way home from work, I just literally went to the Guitar Center and bought a cheap used guitar and started playing again. And that was probably 15 years ago. So, yeah, I think
We don't say Guitar Center around these parts.
Yeah, well,
No.
but I think
There are Outlaw
that.
Saints around here.
I think the two things for me.
Point taken.
So the music thing is, you got to stick with it. Obviously, it's hard early on when you're learning to play music, right? It's challenging. But once you start collaborating with other people, I mean, and there's nothing like playing in front of people. That's just like, it's such a high for me, and it always has been. That's what I live for, is just to get out in front of people. And when you combine those things, it's nothing like it. You know, it's the best feeling in the world. You know, and doing originals, that's like even better. You know, so
We love an original.
yeah.
So, Tank, Outlaw Saint, if you had to pick one spot to send him, the Facebook, the Twitter, the website, where would you send him?
Facebook.com/Outlaw Saint.
Outlaw Saint, that's where you guys are most active.
Yep.
I love it. You guys are following your dreams. It's been a pleasure. You guys have been great. I'm gonna send out the cards now, and for the sake of the audience, we'll turn the cameras off so that we can get real. And you guys don't have to.
Except that, hidden one.
But until then, I'm the system, and that was Rick that just walked behind me. I don't know if his harmonicas are getting bigger or if he's getting smaller. But we'll find out next week. Until then, trust the system.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.